Come and take it away.
I'm Keely. This is Lindsay. Earlier, Mark Newcomb talked about where he got his yayas in the mountains, and I used to get mine in spandex, racing down mountains at 80 miles an hour. For the record, this is way scarier. All right. I'm standing at the bottom of our chosen run, a moderate pitch, untracked except for the boundary line turns, which are mine, showing the girls where we want them to ski. I hear the voice of my partner, Lindsay Mann, come over the radio. Keely, how's the snow? Are you ready for the first girl? My temptation is to give a full whoop. The snow felt so good, like 6 inches on top of a groomer. We selected the slope with our natural and thoughtful approach we find so easy when working with one another. But Lindsay has 8 girls up there, anxiously waiting at the top, and we want to keep them calm and focused. All 8 girls are competent racers and skiers with great backgrounds. Lindsay stresses to the girls to ski at 50% of what they know. I radio up my report. Tell the girls the snow feels smooth and ski with control. As the girls ski down, they're all intently watching each other and cheering, making comments like, "Whoa, she rips," and "What a beautiful skier," or "Great crash." There is a feeling of genuine enthusiasm and camaraderie. Even though we've only spent hours together, it feels like this group's been together for years. I left my World Cup ski racing career behind in 2010, and though racing was a huge part of my life, I was ready for a change. I became a passionate backcountry skier because it gave me a new way to look at my sport outside of race and resort boundaries. Backcountry skiing is something that I really wished I would have had as a younger girl. In 2011, I started Keely's Ski Camp for Girls, whose mission is to empower, inspire, educate, and connect the next generation of girls in skiing. The camp inspiration comes from just wanting female coaches as a little girl. I was passionate and motivated to provide girls with opportunities to be coached by inspiring women. In 2014, I moved here to Jackson, and I met Lindsay Mann, a race coach for the Jackson Hole Ski and Snowboard Club and a mountain guide. She had an impressive resume, guided trips for the last 6 years on mountains like Rainier and Denali, and taught avalanche courses in Colorado. This was the first time I skied in the Tetons with Lindsay. It was great. She donned a denim vest, brought fried chicken and Cheetos she generously shared with the rest of our group. But besides her awesome snack and fashion choices, she was a calculated, experienced, and aware backcountry ski partner, and the missing link to expand to a backcountry ski camp. In April 2015, I found myself skidding into the Bell Lake Yurt in Montana with 6 teenage girls and my lead guide, Lindsay Mann. This was the start of Keely's camp in the backcountry.
When Keely first mentioned these camps to me, my response was, "This is my dream." For me, it was the perfect coupling of my jobs. Backcountry skiing, ski racers, and for some reason, I really like hanging out with teenagers. When I told some friends and colleagues about this though, they didn't always share my enthusiasm. Some people looked at me like I was crazy, while others simply asked, "Doesn't it seem like you're taking on a lot of risk?" For me, it didn't. First of all, being a ski racer means something to me. It meant that we knew that all of the girls coming to the camp were strong skiers with a certain toughness about them. Second, Keely had already organized that we would get a fleet of backcountry skis and skins for the camp. She had also already selected dates in April and a location, the Bell Lake Yurt in Montana. Upon touring in for our recon mission, it became clear to me why Keely had chosen this spot. First, the approach seemed manageable time-wise and with minimal elevation gain and limited exposure to avalanche paths. Additionally, the terrain above the yurt offers a variety of options. It has everything from low-angle tree skiing to steeper couloirs. We recognized what terrain would be good options for the girls and where we were not willing to take them. This X'd-out terrain is a no-go during the camps, and we are adamant about sticking to this plan. When working with minors and operating under these parameters, it is so important that we are constantly observing them to see if they're comfortable in the terrain and how well they're managing themselves and their gear before placing them in more challenging situations. During these camps, we have gotten a variety of springtime weather, everything from powder snow to perfect corn. And having flexibility within a clear set of training guidelines has enabled us to implement a backcountry progression that we feel good about. This is the foundation that has allowed us to have camps from Montana to Iceland, and is what helps us implement our mission statement. Through the mission statement words, connect, educate, empower, and inspire, we are going to illustrate how we operate in the backcountry. Connect, defined as to link, join, or fasten together, to unite or bind, to establish communication between. When Keely greets the girls, she easily recalls stories about the first time she met them at Mount Hood racing camps, or as a nickname for them, such as Little Ripper. What I've noticed about all of these anecdotes or nicknames is that they subtly express her confidence in the girls' abilities and makes them feel at ease. We should also recognize the age gap amongst campers. Last spring, for example, our youngest was 12 and our oldest was 17. Two age groups that wouldn't normally interact in a typical teenage setting, and yet their passion for skiing unites them. Despite having a group of girls who regularly stand on top of a podium or have been competitive in freeride competitions, we don't ask them about their accomplishments, nor do Keely and I lead with snapshots of our resumes. Instead, our introductions usually involve them stating their name, where they're from, and answering a question like, what is your favorite donut? Then we ask the group, what are you most nervous about? Responses to this question range from, I'm nervous about the weight of my pack, to I'm nervous about using these foreign-looking bindings, to even simpler nerves about being away from the luxuries of fingernail polish. By getting these anxieties out in the open, we are able to recognize that this is a weekend full of firsts. First time using kingpin bindings, practicing companion rescue, and for some, being off Snapchat for 72 hours. Even though I can't totally relate to Snapchat withdrawals, I do honor that this is a valid concern for a teenager. And by getting these nerves out in the open, as a group, we can begin to recognize and begin the conversation about how we will approach these as a team and create an environment where all questions are valid and communication is open. This is the stepping stone to unite them as a team. By the time we reach the yurt, after 3 or so hours of skinning, we now know how to get our boots into walk mode, put on skins, turn our avalanche transceivers on, and everyone's favorite beeper song. It begins to feel like we've already known each other for years and have a solid foundation of teamwork, communication, and mutual respect for what's to come.
Educate is defined as to develop the faculties and powers of a person by teaching, instruction, or schooling. A little taller. Lindsay and I strongly agree that our teaching goals are to engage the girls in a fun, team-driven, and comfortable environment, while also illustrating the risks and realities of backcountry skiing. We recognize that we are not an Abbey Level 1 course. We're a backcountry camp that prepares girls and teaches them avalanche awareness for the terrain that we are about to ski. Our instruction plan is customized for teenage girls with a blank slate for backcountry skiing. Unlike adults in a classroom setting, we don't expect teenagers to sit for more than 15 minutes. We have the challenge of selling them on a lesson and getting them up and moving and practicing in a short period of time. Experience has told us best that the girls learn the most from fun scenarios, games, and drills with big picture takeaways. For example, Lindsay had an awesome idea to create relay races out of a companion rescue drill. The girls were split into 2 teams. Each team had to define their leader and assign the others roles within their group. The drill was timed, and the first team to cross the finish line with their whole group in gear intact would win. We heard things like, whoa, I didn't realize how stressful it was to find something under so much pressure, to probing is super hard, to Jessie is super fast at shoveling. Another drill we take the girls through is strategic shoveling in teams of 2. The objective is simple. Shovel as hard as you can for 15 minutes straight. Now, not only is this a great way to tire out a group of energetic teens, but it forces them to recognize how physically and emotionally demanding this would be in a real-life situation. One camper, Macy, told me after that she couldn't believe how hard and scary it was to think that someone could be under so much snow and that someone could be a close friend. This was a profound realization for her. Shoveling went from being a fun exercise to helping the girls understand some of the harsh realities of being involved in an avalanche rescue. On the surface is a group of girls having fun and learning, but we feel we reach them on a much deeper level. And takeaways like Macy's are proof that the drills, fun games, and scenarios are effective. It's our hope that these big picture takeaways empower them to go into the backcountry with people that they trust, can voice their concerns with, make informed decisions with, and continue their backcountry education. Empower. Empower is defined as the authority of power to do something, make someone stronger and more confident, especially in controlling their life and claiming their rights. The teenage years are known for being awkward and a time when you're unsure of yourself. I know they were for me, and I find kick turns to be the same. I've learned a lot from listening to Lindsay teach proper kick turns about how to get around corners and skinning on side hills. And although Lindsay and I do our best to teach efficiency on the skin track, it doesn't always translate when the slope angle is increased. The girls will face plant, slide backwards, fall off the skin track, and slide down the hill until they stop. We've seen it all, and we have all experienced a case of slippy slips and a failed moment on a skin track. Lindsay and I look at each other usually, give a big ugh, and feel happy that the girls are okay, but mildly frustrated that everything we're teaching them still isn't sticking. This is usually the point when Lindsay busts out her delicate flower talk, because the girls are usually slinking along, breaking at the waist, and softly stepping into the snow as if their skis are going to shatter underneath them. You don't want to be a delicate flower, Lindsay tells the girls. You want to be a strong mountain woman. She gives the talk so we can get up the mountain and get to that good skiing. But in her words, her talk goes beyond that. She's telling the girls to stand up tall, step into the snow with commitment and purpose, and that it's okay and encouraged to be assertive and strong. As we watch them flail and try again and again, we are usually able to find humor and learning in this situation and all laugh about it. Now, when I'm working with adults, I find it more urgent to come to their aid, maybe because they no longer have their Gumby legs, but I also think it's because the girls are at an age where ego and experience doesn't dominate their thinking. Most importantly with the girls, we want them to find their resilience and own it throughout their lives. And when they finally master their first kick turn on a 30-degree slope, we're the first ones there to give them a big high five. Now that they've overcome the obstacle of the kick turn, they're stronger, more capable, and tougher. They know they have the power and confidence to do it on their own.
Inspire. Inspire is defined as to fill with an animating, quickening, or exalting influence. When preparing for this part of the talk, I found writing this section to be the hardest. It's hard for me to articulate and summarize the proud feeling I get seeing the girls learning new skills and how much more confident they become in the few days we spend together. This is what is truly unique and inspiring about these camps. During the camps, we have the girls keep a journal where they write down their highs, lows, and what they learned each day. I'd like to read some of what the girls wrote. I'll start with their highs. Struggling with my kick turns and hearing Helga yelling behind me, "You got this, you're a champion." Among other things, the first bite of my sandwich before the boot pack. When the fog cleared and I could see how far we'd come and what we were about to ski. Here are some of their lows. Trying to rush and forgetting to put my ski brake down. Honestly, not much, but the wind was a bit rough. Getting to the bottom of the ski run and realizing that it was over, but also forgetting to put my boots into ski mode. Here's what they learned. I learned all about managing myself in the weather of the windy mountains and about what to do when my skins aren't sticking. You can always find a way to help you push through once you reach that point where you think, I can't. And from our panelists later today, the great BB Hall, how changing the plan can actually be the best start to a new adventure. These girls, as you can see from the quotes, continue to remind us to have humor, genuine excitement, and continue to hold Keely and I to a higher standard. We no longer have the excuse that we don't bring our helmets on a ski tour, because if the girls can find a way to jam it into their 25-liter packs, we can definitely find a way to bring it in our guide kit. They keep inspiring us through connections that they have made in the mountains. After the camps are over, sending us pictures of them ski touring on Teton Pass with text saying, I got my skins off without taking off my skis, or I just finished my Abbey 1 course. Or telling us about their future plans, about how when they're older and in their 40s, they're going to be doing backcountry head trips together. This youthful energy and enthusiasm is how they inspire us to remember to embrace each day that we are in the backcountry. Laugh hard, play hard, and enjoy. I hope that this is a perspective that we can all take into the winter, whether as a student, instructor, backcountry traveler, or just in our everyday lives. We'd like to end with a quote by one of our campers, Ellie. My favorite moment today was when we were skinning up. The wind was whipping, and I just thought, I'm a badass mountain woman. Thanks.
That was great. I wish you all had been around when I was 17. I would have loved to be part of that crew. Yeah. Who's got questions for these gals? Anybody? Bev.
The person's comment, they hoped they'd be doing it when they were in their 40s. Did they really think 40s was old?
Yep. They are teenagers.
They hadn't met you yet, Bev. Bev's one of my mentors. You're not old. Oh no. Take the rope up for me, Bev.
What? I'm hard of hearing.
Good, then I could say whatever I want, right? Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Suze.
I was crying while you were giving that presentation, as I was thinking to myself, I wish I had them when I was 13 in my life, because that would have made a big difference. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suze. Thanks, everybody. Oh, no, we got one more.
Real quick, what's something that we can do to help you keep stretching?
I think one thing, so we both also work at the Jackson Hole Ski and Snowboard Club, and I know that we've been working a lot with Stephanie from TSAR and Don Sheriff, Don Carpenter, and Stephanie from AI, but keep promoting youth avalanche education, and I think being mentors to teenagers. I know that it's awesome looking out and seeing a lot of our old athletes in the crowd, and I'm psyched that they're here, but yeah, I think just, you know, when you see teenagers out backcountry skiing at the resort, or even at like the Snow King bouldering wall, you know, seeing if you can make that connection with them, I think that goes a really long way.
Yep. Have you interacted at all with the organization She Jumps? And if so, what can you tell the crowd about it?
Our camp hasn't interacted with She Jumps, but we hope to in the future and are open to it.